What is your job? How many times have you been asked the question, what is your job? It's the most common question when someone is trying to learn about your job. What is your job? What? 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 Is. I. Z. Is. Remember that final sound. Z. Z. Is. Is. Your. Yeah. Or. Your. Job. J. A. B. Job. J. J. Job. B. Job. Job. What is your job? Remember, this question has a falling tone, and the words what and job are emphasized. What is your job? What is your job? What is your job? Now you try.
What is your job?
Great job. Remember, this question has a falling tone, and the words what and job are emphasized. What is your job? What is your job? What is your job? Now you try.
What is your job?
Great. Do you remember the short form of the words what is? Yep, that's right. It's what's. So you need to remember the final sound s in what's. What's. So you can also ask, what's your job? That's right. What do you do? Or another question you can ask with the same meaning is, what do you do? What? What? T. What? Do. D. Oo. Do. You. Yeah. Oo. You. Do. D. Oo. Do. Notice the difference between the two do's in the sentence. The first do is an auxiliary verb, and it comes before the main subject in the question. The second do is the main verb. What do you do? Do. 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 Can you hear the difference between the two do's? What do you do? And then, of course, there is the falling intonation and the emphasis on what and do in the sentence. So you have, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You try it.
What do you do?
Excellent. I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer. What's your job? Or what do you do? An easy way to answer these questions is I'm plus a or an and the job title. I'm. I'm. And you need to put the stress on the job title. For example, I'm a teacher. You put the word "a" before the name of many job titles. I'm a doctor. Doctor. I'm. And you need to put the stress on the job title. For example, I'm a teacher. You put the word "a" before the name of many job titles. I'm a doctor. 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 I'm a teacher. 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 I'm a student.
I'm a student.
Student. Student.
Student.
I'm a worker. 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 Un is usually put before jobs that begin with the vowel A, E, I, O, or U. For example, an engineer. Engineer begins with an E, so we say an engineer. I'm an engineer. Un. Un. Engineer. 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 A, E. Worker. Un is usually put before jobs that begin with the vowel A, E, I, O, or U. For example, an engineer. Engineer begins with an E, so we say an engineer. I'm an engineer. Un.
Engineer.
Un.
Engineer.
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 Or, I'm an accountant. Un.
I'm accountant.
Un. Accountant. Accountant. Accountant.
Accountant.
So, what do you do?
Student. Student.
Great job. I'm a teacher. What do you do?
I'm an engineer. What's your job?
I'm a worker. What do you do?
I'm an accountant. Where do you work? After asking about jobs, a common follow-up question is, where do you work? Where?
Where?
What? Where? Where? Do. Duh. Ooh.
Wow.
Do. You. Ya. Ooh. You. Work. What?
Wow.
K. Work. Remember the k sound at the end of work. K. K.
Wow.
Where do you work? Remember to
Work.
emphasize where and work. Also, this is a WH question, so it has a falling tone at the end. Where do you work? Where do you work? Where do you work? You try.
Where do you work?
Where do you work?
Fabulous.
Work.
I work in an office. Where do you work? You try.
Where do you work?
Fabulous. I work in an office. Where do you work? An easy way to answer this question is I work plus the name of your workplace. I work. K. Work. I work. The stress should be on the name of the workplace in this sentence. Your workplace may be in a company. Company.
Company.
Company.
Company.
In an office.
You know,
Office. Office. In a shop.
in a shop.
Shop. In a hospital. Hospital. At a school. School. In a restaurant. Restaurant. Now with these letters,
Rest-
Taurant, you can just say
rest-
trant.
Restaurant.
In a restaurant. Or at home.
Restaurants.
Home.
Restaurant.
So you can say, I work in an office. How about you try? Where do you work?
Work in a school. Work in a school.
Fabulous.
University.
What do you do?
I'm a worker.
Where do you work?
And
I work in a company.
I work in a
What's your job?
university.
I'm an accountant.
Where do you work?
I work in an office. Well, that's all we have for our lesson today. Let's go over what we've learned so far. The first thing is to ask about someone's job. You can ask them, what is your job? Or, what's your job? And, what do you do? To answer this question, you say, I'm, a or an, and the name of your job. To learn about someone's workplace, you ask the question, where do you work? To answer this question, you say, I work, plus the name of where you work. So, that concludes our lesson for today. If you want to practice this more, join us in our next video. Unit 7, Jobs and Workplaces. In the lesson, I've just introduced the questions and answers about one's job and workplace to you. Let's practice saying them with some friends now. Hi, I'm Susanna. What's your name?
Hi Susanna,
My name is
I'm Huy.
What's your job?
I'm an engineer. What's your job?
I'm a teacher.
What's your job? Job.
All right. Huy could answer my question about his job and ask about my job. Did you notice anything that he can improve? Hi, I'm Susanna. What's your name?
Hi Susanna, I'm Huy.
What's your job?
I'm an engineer. What's your job?
I'm a teacher. First, Huy used the article a incorrectly. The job engineer begins with the vowel E. So you must use un before it. Not a engineer. It's an engineer. An engineer. That's right. Second, it's about the pronunciation of the sound J. It's not engineer.
Engineer.
It should be engineer.
Engineer.
The letter G is pronounced J. J.
Engineer.
G. N. G. Near. Engineer.
Engineer.
Yeah, that's good.
Engineer.
Similarly, try to pronounce
Job.
the J in job.
Job.
J.
Job.
J. Job.
Job.
Job. Very nice. Next, in engineer, the stress
engineer.
should be on near,
Near.
not engineer.
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 Engineer. Near.
Engineer.
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 Exactly.
Engineer.
Finally, we missed the
Wow.
final sound of what's.
Was.
What's.
Was.
What's. Not what.
Was.
Did you catch the difference?
What? What?
Now, let's come back to Hui and help him say the sentences properly. Thank you, Hui. There are some things I think we can work on to make it sound perfect. The first thing was with a and un. Engineer starts with a vowel, so we use un before it. An-engineer.
An engineer.
An-engineer.
Engineer.
An engineer.
Exactly.
Engineer.
And the second thing is the
An
sound
engineer.
j.
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 Engineer.
J.
Yes.
Yeah.
This sound is used in engineer.
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 Great. Yes. And it's also used in the word job. Job.
Job.
Job.
Job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we need the stress of the word engineer to be on the third syllable. Engineer.
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 That's better.
Ah.
Good. The last thing
Yeah.
is with the S on what's.
Was.
What's.
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 Exactly. What's your job?
Was.
What's
your job?
your job?
Yeah. What's your job?
What's your job?
That's great. Thanks, Hui.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ming. What's your name?
Hi, Ming. I'm Susanna.
Where do you work?
I work in an office. And you? Where do you work?
I work in a company.
All right. Ming has done a rather good job, but there are some things he could do better. Did you notice them?
Hello, I'm Ming. What's your name?
Hi, Ming. I'm Susanna.
Where do you work?
I work in an office.
where do
And
you
you?
work?
Where do you work?
I work in a company.
What? Do you work? Where do you work?
First, Ming
Work.
mispronounced
Work.
the word work.
Work.
The middle sound should be longer.
Was.
Work.
Was. Was.
Also, the final sound should be explosive, like this.
Was.
Work. it should be linked to the vowel sound after it. Workin'. Workin'. That's right. One more common word Ming mispronounced is company. It's not company.
company,
It's company.
company,
Company.
company,
Company.
company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very nice. Next, Ming just put the stress on work. But in this WH question, the word where should be emphasized. Then he needs to emphasize
work?
two words,
Where do you
where and work, instead of just work.
work?
It'll sound like this. Where do you work? Where do you work?
Where do you work?
That's right.
Where do you work?
Now, let's help Ming say his sentences better.
Where do you work?
Thanks, Ming. There are some things I think we can work on to sound perfect in this question. And the first thing is the word work. We want to have that middle sound longer. Yeah, exactly. Work. And then we want the final k sound at the end. Work.
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 Great, exactly. We can link this to the next word as well. Workin.
Working.
Workin.
Working.
Yeah. And then the word company.
Work.
Company.
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 Yeah, company.
Company.
Yes.
Company.
And then we want to stress two words in this sentence, where and work.
Company.
Where do you work?
Where do you work?
Where do you work?
Where do you work?
Better. Very good.
Where do you work?
You've just seen your friends practice. Now, we can have a little practice together. First, I will ask and you will answer. What's your job?
I'm
Where
a
do you work?
student. I'm a student. I work in a university.
Now,
University.
you will ask about my job. Let's start.
Is your job? What's your job?
I'm a teacher. Next,
Where
you will
do you
ask
work?
about my workplace.
Where do you work?
I work at a school. Good job. So, that's all for today. I hope that you know how to improve the way you talk about one's job and workplace. Now, let's have a look at the following notes. Thanks for joining us. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Job.
Job.
Job. Job.
Job. Job. Job. Job. Do. Teacher. Teacher. Doctor. 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 student, 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 engineer, work, work, worker, 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 accountant, accountant, work, 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 mm, company, office, office, nhầm, office, shop, shop, shop,
Shop. Sh. Ah.
shop,
Shop.
shop, 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 đúng rồi đấy, hospital, school, restaurant,
Home. O.
home,
Home.
home, home, home,
What's your job? What's your job? What's your job?
what's your job? What's your job? What do you do? I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. An engineer. Chuẩn. Where do you work? I work in a company. Chuẩn.
Work.
Work.
Hospital.
Hospital.
Engineer.
Engineer.
Doctor. Job.
Job. Accountant.
Accountant. School. Work. Office. Teacher. What's your job? I'm an engineer. Where do you work? I work in a company. I work at a school.
work at a school.
What do you do? What's your job? Where do you work? What do you do? Where do you work?
Office.
Hello, I'm David. What's your name?
Hi, David. I'm Kate.
What's your job?
I'm an accountant. What do you do?
I'm an engineer. Where do you work?
I work in a small company. And you? Where do you work?
I work in an office.